Hello class, this is Demetrius Wilson again. This is BA 114, Marketing. We are now on to Chapter 2, and we get there. We're on to Chapter 2, Strategic Planning. Very, very important to plan. Proper planning prevents poor performance. Our learning objectives are explain a value proposition, understand why a company may develop different value propositions for different target markets. uh, 30-second elevator, quote unquote, elevator speech, which we should all have, stating the specific benefits a product or service offering provides a buyer. You should also have elevator speech for yourself because in some instances you want to sell yourself to the individual that you are speaking to. What if you got on the elevator with Warren Buffett or Bill Gates or somebody like that? It shows why the good is superior to competing offers. The value proposition answers the questions, why should I buy from you? Or why should I hire you? So again, why should I hire you is because you are, in that instance, marketing yourself. Value proposition, firm segment, market, and then identifies different target markets they want to reach when they are developing their value proposition. So you want to figure out what markets you want to reach, and then you work your way backward and go from there. Value proposition tells each group of customers or potential customer or potential employer why they should buy a product or service. Once the benefits of a product or service are clear, the firm must develop strategies that support the value proposition. It should be in alignment with the goals of the company as well. Value proposition serves as a guide for this process. Individuals and students should also develop their own personal value proposition. So you're not going to be able to get off in this class just saying, hey, I've got the information that you need. We're also going to talk about creating value propositions, elevator speeches for yourself as an individual that you want to market. Key takeaways: a value proposition is a 30-second elevator pitch or speech stating the specific value a product or service provides to a target market. Firms may develop different value propositions for different groups of customers. We might have some high-end customers and some low-end and some medium-end customers. Value proposition shows why the product or service is superior to the company or to the competing offers, and why the customer should buy it, or why the firm should hire you. Learning objectives for the second section. I'll explain how a mission statement helps a company with its strategic planning. Must be in alignment with what the company is looking to do. Describe how a firm analyzes its internal environment, and describe the external environment a firm may face and how it is actually analyzed. Internal environment, you're talking about the departments that work with you. External environment, it's things that are happening outside of the realm of your company. So for strategic planning, it's a process that helps an organization allocate its resources to capitalize on opportunities in the marketplace. So if there are opportunities out there, then we want to find those actual opportunities. Typically, it's a long-term process. The strategic planning process includes conducting a situation analysis and developing the organization's mission statement, objective, and value proposition and strategies. So the strategic planning process. So let's go ahead and just increase this a little bit for you so you can see. So this inputs to the planning process. So you evaluate the external environment. So the economy, competition, potential, or political, legal environment, right? Those are things that that happen and affect the company from the external perspective. Now, internal, evaluate the internal environment, firm's financial and human resources, technological capabilities, etc. Those are in-house problems that we need to correct. So we have our mission statement, and we have our objectives, and then we have our value proposition, which is in alignment with all of those as well. Conducting a situation analysis is something that will be very, very helpful for all of us to learn how to do. As a part of a strategic planning process, a situation analysis must be conducted before a company can decide on specific actions. A lot of places actually have that written into their contracts. Situation analysis involves analyzing both the external and the internal company environments. The planning process. So, like I said at the very beginning, proper planning prevents poor performance. The mission statement. It says the leading planning phrase. It answers the question, why does this company exist? Right. So you have to figure out why does the company exist, and then it should, clear up some thoughts and some paths and patterns that you may be looking into. A situation analysis is conducted to access the current business environment. Internal factors such as a company's strengths and weaknesses are relative to this environment and relative to this environment are exposed. External factors such as opportunities and threats are identified. So conducting a SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is very, very important. If you haven't heard the term already, it's your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. So once companies sit down and go through a SWOT analysis, they typically are in good favor in terms of receiving additional solid information that maybe the SWOT analysis points them to go in a different direction. So based on a situation analysis, organizations analyze their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, or conduct a SWOT analysis. Strengths and weaknesses are internal factors and are somewhat controllable, right? So those are things that we can control, things that we can fix. And opportunities and threats are factors that are external to the firm and largely uncontrollable, right? So some things, like the economy, we're not necessarily in control of that. Does it affect the business? Of course it does. So internal factors and then external factors. You can look at your SWOT analysis and see that it's simply built into kind of two components. So internal factors, you have your strengths of firms, brand name and resources. Weaknesses, low product awareness, right? People are like, the Tezers. And then poor facility location, right? So it's the actual facility. Those are internal problems, internal factors. External factors, opportunities, demand for a product, size of market, and threats, bad economy, and competitions. I'm sorry, competitors, not competitions. So assessing the internal environment. So once companies determine their strengths, they can use those strengths to capitalize on opportunities and develop their competitive advantage. So you want to capitalize on your strengths, but then you also want to help other individuals, within your internal environment, for the competitive advantage. Managers need to examine both the past and present, past and current strategies of their firms and determine what strategies succeeded and which ones failed. So you want to do things post-mortem, and then we'll talk a little bit later about doing things pre-mortem. So you want to say, hey, let's do a, analysis on, 2015, what worked. Let's continue to do that. What didn't work, let's discontinue that. So you have to assess that internal environment, and it's something that you can definitely dictate. So internal SWOT analysis. So strengths, financial, market position, patents, management, costs, right? Things that make our company strong. Weaknesses, competitive position, organization structure, supplier dependency, product line, and brand awareness, right? So these are weaknesses. So actions required. So it's simple to look at your strengths, look at your weaknesses, and see what you need to do from there. Capitalize on a strength and address a weakness. You want to at least do one of those a week. Assessing the external environment. So analyzing the external environment involves tracking conditions in macro and micro marketplace, right? So remember, macro is the whole thing. Micro is just a certain specific part of the market. The macro environment includes economic factors, demographic trends, cultural and social trends, political and legal regulations, technological changes, and the price and availability of natural resources. The microenvironment includes competition, suppliers, marketing intermediaries, who are the retailers and wholesalers, the public, and the company and the customers as well. So an external SWOT analysis. So now we're talking about what's on the outside, and that's opportunities and threats. You have global markets, enabling technologies, growing consumer wealth, currency, exchange rates, and government spending. So right now, opportunities have us up in a solid direction. Threats, economic contraction, government regulations, social and political changes, trade barriers, taxes, and mandated expenses. So actions required, stay informed on global markets and issues, anticipate and prepare for government actions, and monitor technology in advance. And then we have the competitive environment. So both nonprofit and for-profit organizations compete for customers' resources, right? So whether they're a for-profit company like McDonald's or a nonprofit company like Red Cross, they're still competing for customer resources. A group of competitors that provide similar products or services from an industry, those are all competitors within an environment. Michael Porter developed an approach for analyzing industries called the five forces model. So you have your potential new entrants, right? These companies that are new, possibly coming to the table. Bargaining power of suppliers. So you have these suppliers, and can they raise prices on you? Do they have to keep them the same? Do you have a contract? You have substitutes, things that you can use instead of using whatever product you produce. Bargaining power of buyers. All that adds into the competitive rivalry or your direct competitors. Competitive analysis, which you have to do as well. So when a firm conducts a competitive analysis, they tend to focus on direct competitors and try to determine a firm's strengths and weaknesses and its image and its resources, right? So you want to look at, who your direct competitors are, find out how strong they are, where they're strong, where they're weak at, and see how you can work that towards your advantage. Competitive analysis involves looking at any information available on competitors. Another means of collecting competitive information utilizes mystery shoppers or people who act like customers, but they're not really customers. They work for you, and you're trying to get intel on a different company. According to Porter, in addition to their direct competitors, organizations must consider the strength and impact of the following could have. Substitute products, right? Is there a product that I could use for two different things and not purchase your product? Potential entrants in the marketplace, right? So at the very beginning, not many people were making laptops, but everybody is now. Bargaining power of suppliers and the bargaining power of buyers, which we talked about on the other slide. The political and legal environment, that's obviously external. Nothing you can do about that for the most part. You can have people that lobby for other things that you want. But all organizations must comply with government regulations and understand the political and legal environments in which they do business. The United States is not very hard to do business with in comparison to other countries. Different government agencies enforce the numerous regulations that have been established to protect both consumers and businesses. For example, the Sherman Act of 1890 prohibits U.S. firms from restraining trade by creating monopolies and cartels, meaning, hey, we're going to create this one company that sells apples and nobody else is going to sell apples. That's not what they're looking to do. Economic environment. Economic factors include variables such as inflation, means things are going up, things are more costly. Unemployment, interest rates, and whether the economy is in a growth period or a recession. So I definitely don't think we're in a recession right now, but they're kind of holding off and very skeptical in terms of the growth period. Inflation occurs when the cost of living continues to rise, eroding the purchasing power of money. So let's just say you never get a raise or an increase and the price of everything continues to increase, then you definitely have a problem. During a recessionary period, it is possible for both high-end and low-end products to sell well. So just because things are bad throughout the economy doesn't necessarily mean that they will turn out that way for you. The demographic, social, and cultural environment. So demographic and social and cultural environments, including social trends such as people's attitudes towards fitness and nutrition. Back in the day, people didn't have a positive attitude towards fitness and nutrition. Now, so many people are doing it, it's become commonplace. Demographic characteristics such as people's age, income, marital status, education, and occupation, and culture, which relates to people's beliefs and values, are constantly changing in the global marketplace. You have to keep up, keep up, keep up. So you have your natural resources. Natural resources are scarce commodities, and consumers are becoming increasingly aware of this fact. Green marketing involves marketing environmentally safe products and services in a way that is good for the environment. You want to go green, and green marketing not only helps the environment, but it also saves the company and ultimately the consumer money. So you want to do something that helps the environment, but also puts money and cash in your pocket. The mission statement. We should all have know what the mission statement is for companies that we're looking at or companies that we currently work for. The firm's mission statement states the purpose of the organization and why it exists. Why does it exist? Because we want to get everybody hamburgers and make it convenient for them. Both profit and nonprofit organizations have mission statements, which they often publicize. So key takeaways, this is just, always going to be like a recap. It's the same way in the book, gives you like a little recap of the things that you should have taken away from the lecture. And then if there are certain things in there that you didn't get, then you revert back and ask Coach John. So a firm must analyze factors in the external and internal environments it faces throughout the strategic planning process. These factors are inputs to the planning process. As they change, the company must be prepared to adjust its plans. Different factors are relevant for different companies. And once a company has analyzed its internal and external environments, managers can begin to decide which strategies are best given the firm's mission statement, right? So, we have multiple strategies. Which one are we going to employ for them? Learning objectives, you want to explain how companies develop the objectives driving their strategies. And then describe the different types of product strategies and market entry strategies that companies pursue. So those are your learning objectives. So developing objectives. Objectives are what organizations want to accomplish in a given time frame, right? So remember, objectives are going to be short term. A goal is going to be long term when they come to get you. Objectives such should be realistic and measurable. So we talked about that, like a smart goals. So realistic has to be realistic. I want to say, hey, I want you to sell 5,000 bikes next week, when I know that's impossible, and it needs to be measurable. I need to measure how many bikes did you sell. I need to be able to quantify it in terms of money or in terms of units. Objectives help guide and motivate a company's employees and give its managers reference points for evaluating the firm's marketing actions. A firm's marketing objectives should be consistent with the company's objectives at other levels, such as the corporate level and the business level. Formulating strategies. So what do you do about creating and formulating your own personal strategies for companies in the near and distant future? Strategies are the means to the ends, the game plan, or what the firm is going to do to achieve its objectives, right? So strategies are a little bit higher than objectives. It's more high level than those. Tactics include specific actions, so those are along the same lines, such as coupons, television commercials, banner ads, etc., taken to the executives taken to execute the strategy. Firms often use multiple strategies to accomplish their objectives and capitalize on marketing opportunities. And a marketing plan is a strategic plan at the functional level that provides a firm's marketing group with direction, right? So the marketing staff will need directions, but their direction will come from up high when someone says, hey, this is the direction and the course that we're going to go through. So here's a marketing plan. Which products will be created? Simple as that. What we're going to create. How will the products be exchanged for revenue, right? So is it just money? Is it money and credit card? Is it money, credit card, and check? How the products will be communicated, right? So are we communicating what's new and what we fixed? How the products will be delivered, and supporting research and forecast all the way back through the circle of life, which products will be created. Very, very good, simple, but very good document. So product and market entry strategy. So you have existing products, existing markets, new markets, right? So if you have an existing product and you have an existing market, then you have market penetration, right? But if you have new products in an existing market, you have product development, meaning that you're going to develop a new product. If you have existing products in new markets, so you have market development, develop a little bit more of the environment here. And if you have new products in new markets, you have diversification because we're doing something very new within the company. So strategic choices. There are different types of product and market entry strategies that a firm can pursue in order to meet objectives. Other choices include licensing, franchising, contract manufacturing, joint ventures, direct investment, and diversification strategies. So market penetration, product development, and then market development. all tied into one. So types of product and market entry strategies. So those, we just went over these: market penetration strategies, product development strategies, market development strategies. Firms can simply export or sell their goods. Firms can also license, and they can sell the right to use an aspect of their production processes. And franchising is a longer term and thus riskier form of licensing. Types of product and market entry strategies. Contract manufacturing allows companies to hire manufacturers to produce their products in another country. Joint ventures combine the expertise and investments of two companies and help companies enter foreign markets. And direct investment, which is a little bit more risky, owning a company or facility overseas, provides the most control, but also has the most risk. So market entry strategies, you have just what we just talked about: exporting, licensing, franchising, contract manufacturing, joint ventures, and direct investments. So if you see down on this end, down here, you have low risk, low investment, low control. Those, they're very, very low. So, no risk, no reward. But here you have high risk, high investment, and high control. And the only thing you can really control there is will that individual show up, for our market strategy meeting. Diversification strategies. Diversification strategies involve entering new markets with new products or doing something outside of firms' current businesses, right? So now we're saying, hey, you know what? We used to make skateboards, now we're gonna do bikes. Totally out of my wheelhouse, but it's good experience. Diversification can be profitable, but it can also be risky if the company does not have the expertise or resources it needs to be successfully implemented within the strategy. Takeaways: the strategic planning processes include a company's mission, right? What is your purpose? What are you trying to do? Objectives, end result, what's desired, and strategies, which is a means. Sometimes the different strategic business units of a firm have different mission statements. Firms' objectives should be realistic, achievable, and measurable as well. Different product market strategies firms pursue include market penetration, product development, right? If we build it, they will come. And then market development and diversification. So more learning objectives for the next section. Identify the different levels at which strategic planning may occur within a firm's. Understand how strategic planning that occurs at multiple levels in an organization helps a company achieve its overall corporate objectives. So strategic planning. In large organizations, top executives develop strategic plans for the corporation as a whole, and then they trickle those plans down. These are corporate level plans. A strategic business unit is a business or product line within an organization that has its own competitors, customers, and profit center for accounting purposes. So a firm's strategic business unit may also have their own mission statement and will generally develop strategies or strategic plans for themselves. These are called business level plans because it involves the entire business. The different departments or functions, accounting, finance, marketing, and so forth, within a company or a strategic business unit also develop strategic plans as well. A strategic planning level in an organization, right? So you see at the very, very top, you have corporate level, business level. You see some examples there: PepsiCo America's Beverages, PepsiCo America's Foods. And then you have your functional level, where you have your marketing department, accounting department, and they're just going to do strategies and actions implemented at the functional level must be consistent with to help an organization achieve its objectives, both at the business and corporate levels and vice versa. The strategic business units at the business level must also be consistent with and help an organization achieve its corporate level objectives, right? So, strategic, tactical, and operational, those things all must be aligned. Organizations can utilize multiple methods and strategies at different levels in the corporation to accomplish their various goals. Similarly, individuals may use different strategies to accomplish their goals. Different levels, we all have different levels of where we're working at, but they are typically combined if they are successful. Key takeaways: strategic planning can occur at different levels: corporate, business, and functional in every organization. The number of levels may vary from, depending upon what business situation you're in. If a company has multiple planning levels, the plans must be consistent and must help achieve the overall goals of the corporation. We say that they must. It's possible that they don't, but if they don't, then you're not going to be successful within the company. Learning objectives for the last section, I explain how strategic business units are evaluated using the Boston Consulting Group Matrix, or the BCG. Explain how businesses and the attractiveness of industries are evaluated using the General Electric approach, both of which are great. So portfolio planning approach. So analyze a firm's entire collection of businesses relative to one another. Two of the most widely used portfolio planning approaches include the Boston Consulting Group, or the BCG Matrix, as we just talked about, and General Electric approach. Two popular approaches, and that's kind of redundant for them to state that. So the BCG matrix helps companies evaluate each of its strategic business units based on two factors: a strategic business unit's market growth rate and a strategic business unit's relative market share. Because the Boston Consulting Group matrix assumes that profitability and market share are highly related, right? So you're profitable because you have a lot of the market share, which makes sense. It's a useful approach for making business and investment decisions. This is how the matrix works. You have what you call question marks. So you have low market share and high market growth. So not a lot of market share, but a lot of growth, right? So you don't know what to do with opportunities, decide whether to increase investment. You have dogs, which are not good, low market share and low market growth. So weak in the market and difficult to make a profit, right? You want to get away from those. You have stars, which are great, high market share and high market growth, doing well and great opportunities. And then you have cash cows, high market share and low market growth, right? So you have a lot of market share, but you don't have a lot of growth going on. Maybe you're a company that's been there for a long time and you just don't have a lot of growth, and other companies are growing, trying to steal your business and your clients. Doing well in no growth market with limited opportunities, but still doing well, right? So ideally, you have some cash cows and you have some stars. Work with some question marks, but stay away from the dogs. Categories of products based on the BCG matrix. So a star is a product with high growth and high market share. A cash cow, product with low growth and high market share. Question mark or problem children. Obviously, they're called problem children for a reason. Product with the low share of a high growth market. And a dog is a product with low growth and low market share. The General Electric approach, which is very successful for a lot of companies, examines a business's strengths and attractiveness of the industry in which it competes. So not only the strength of the business, but the attractiveness of the actual industry that they're in. Companies evaluate their strengths and the attractiveness of industries as high, medium, and low. Companies with a medium rating of industry attractiveness and business strengths should be cautious, right? So you must be cautious when investing and attempt to hold the market share that they have. Nice diagram that they have there. Evaluate the strategic business units using the following factors: market share, growth of the strategic business unit, size of the actual opportunity, potential for profit, environmental factors, competitive conditions. So if you have a green there, it's invest for growth. Yellow, stay status quo. Red, divest. So maybe you want to, sell your shares and kind of get away from that actual market. So key takeaways. Group of businesses is called a portfolio. Organizations that have multiple business units must decide how to allocate resources to them and decide what objectives and strategies are feasible for them. Portfolio planning approaches help firms analyze the businesses relative to each other. And the Boston Consulting Group matrix and the General Electric approaches are the two most common portfolio planning methods. I think we did pretty good on getting through all 52 of those slides, because typically, that's a lot of slides for the chapter presentation. But we got in under 30 minutes. So make sure that you have listened to this lecture. Make sure you review your 3 supplemental videos. Do great on your quiz, and we'll carry on, and the class will be over before you know it. So this is chapter 2, and that's the end of that. And I'll see you again for chapter 3. And as always, have a good day and a great week.